Hey, welcome back to Extra Trashy. Today we have a ton of ground to cover on this episode. Of course, we're going to be covering our thoughts and opinions on the latest Street Fighter 6 DLC character Yasmine. Stay to the end of the episode to get those opinions. And of course, we have the Street Fighter 6 balance update, maybe the largest and most impactful update we have seen in years for this game. Adam and I give our opinions on a lot of the changes, the design direction the game is going in, our thoughts on the biggest winners and losers, and more on the patch coming up. But before that, we have some interesting developments for Street Fighter League EMEAA, the EU Street Fighter League announcements with all the teams joining them. We're going to get some familiar faces, but maybe not the ones you're expecting in this league. And up first, of course, we have the Esports World Cup 2026 recap. Tons of big developments in this tournament. We have the Daigo versus Mena RD run back. We have a Lily player going all the way to grand finals, and a new Chilean 15-year-old prodigy taking the title, but it's not Blas. All that and more in this episode. We're back here at Extra Trashy to talk about a lot. I guess there's a lot more than I thought there was. We had the Esports World Cup that just transpired, and there were some surprising results and some not surprising ones in that tournament. We also had the Street Fighter League EU announcements, which were pretty interesting considering the developments happening in that region and in the format. And of course, the bounce patch and Yasmine for Street Fighter 6. So a lot to dig into. First off, Adam, what do we have to say about this Esports World Cup, man? There's a lot of interesting things that happened early on in the bracket. Anything you want to touch on first?
I thought watching, I'll give this good thing. I thought watching this tournament was actually one of the better tournaments to watch this year. Very minimal ads, very speedy through. A lot of the matches during the pool were, ran pretty properly. There was like 30-second break between matches, so that was all good. But then there was like a top 8 pre-show where there was a guy jumping off the off the table, and I don't know who that was for, but it was a good tournament. Probably my favorite top 8 to watch this year, to be honest, of all the CPT events.
You didn't like the RGB drums that they brought out for the pre-show?
I don't know where those guys came from, and I don't know who was doing that performance, but get your bag, man. Get your bag.
They were doing their thing, man. I mean, they're just in the wrong place, wrong time. The choreography was pretty good, and the people out there were doing a lot of interesting stunts. They're flipping all over the stage. They got their RGB drum set going, but yeah, it's just a whole gosh, I don't know. It's like it's tacky, right? Esports World Cup. It's all about flexing the wealth and all that. It's like this doesn't belong here. You're making this too big of a spectacle for what it is. We're here to play video games. Why is this guy doing a backflip and then busting out the RGB drum set and making it this epic? It's like it was a little.
We're
little
esports now. We're esports. We've done it. We've transcended. We broke the mold. FGC. We're big now. We're coming. We're coming.
When that Saudi oil money comes crashing down, man, we're going to be right back to the Hilton ballrooms, and there's going to be no one doing any breakdancing besides us, okay? We're going to have to get people from the crowd to go up on the stage. I'll be there doing the worm for the top 8 pre-show, and we're going to get back to grassroots. But yeah, the production was pretty good. I mean, listen, they got the money to put the show on. The whole thing's a big spectacle to advertise Kidia and the entertainment capital, and they got a lot of money to make it happen, man. And you can't deny that it is a spectacle, that's for sure. And yeah, it wasn't too much downtime. They managed that a little bit well, but it still has all the little strange trademarks of being like this big grand ordeal, contrasting with us playing Street Fighter. There's always a little bit of that weird tension there in the dynamics.
I think that's just kind of weird for, us playing Street Fighter. If you look at like a League of Legends tournament or Overwatch tournament, their tournaments are just as big and grand. Like they do a lot of stuff at those kind of tournaments too. It's just we're FGC, so we're poverty. We just want to hit buttons and get out of there.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a brief pause in the conversation to thank you. You guys loved our partnership with the Okaseme Coffee Company, a by the FGC for the FGC coffee brand. And because of that support, they've decided to sign us on here at Trash Talk for another season. Okazeme Coffee Company provides high-quality custom coffee blends shipped right to your doorstep. While I personally love their heavy attack roast, lately I've been favoring the medium attack blend for a bit more of a balanced flavor profile. Whether you opt for pulling your own espresso shots, stop to take a breath with a morning pour over, or use a good old-fashioned drip coffee maker like me, Okazeme Coffee has all of your needs covered. So to improve your wake-up options with Okazeme Coffee, you can head on over to okazeme.coffee and use discount code BrianF for 15% off your next order. Okay, that's all. Now back to the show, the way it was meant to be. Yeah. But these guys aren't poverty. They're playing for a lot of money at that Esports World Cup, and so there's a lot of stakes on the line. And before we get into the finale of the results, let's go back to some of the groups. I think one of the big highlights from the groups this year, we had the run back of Daigo versus Menard. So, of course, everyone was waiting to see these two go at it. Somehow, either through fate or collusion, these two ended up in the same group. And it's a first to three set. They go up and go to play. And I believe Daigo first play. Was that the first match of the group or the second? That might have been the second one. Yeah, that was the second. So Daigo was already actually in losers at this point. This was the loser side of the bracket. So Daigo actually won his first match against Itabashi Zangief. They had the Unks go at it. Let me point that out first. They're both like 45, 46 years old. The oldest players in the tournament, I believe, and they're going at it right away. Once again, collusion on that part. Unks taking each other out in a young man's game. Then on the loser side, they had to go at it because Menard actually lost round one to Hibiki with Lily. So maybe we talk about that first. Hibiki with Lily 3-0 over Menard, which is pretty funny because I had just talking to Menard for Trash Talk about a week or so prior to this tournament. And one of the people he brings up by name in terms of preparing for Street Fighter League Japan was Hibiki. He said, you know, in Street Fighter League Japan, no matter how broken my team might seem, you know, his team of him, Yamaguchi, Momochi, and Higuchi and Menard, the rest of the players are killers, and you got to play weird matchups like Lily. And he mentioned Hibiki. He's like, you're not going to be ready for that if you're not dialed in. And what do you know? 3-0 Hibiki over Menard in round one.
It's funny because Mena made a tweet, I think, maybe like season 2 or season 3, I don't remember, but it was something like Menard and Lily are actually like super broken and nobody knows. So I don't know, maybe this is something with Lily that, you know, Mena has maybe trouble with, or maybe Lily's just really good at, you know, shutting down Blanca stuff. But, you know, for me, pre-patch, by the way, I still thought Lily was probably the worst in the game. I don't know about now, but, you know, I still thought, you know, Hibiki is just playing good with one of the worst characters in the game.
Right. And Hibiki has always historically had these moments of like brilliance in Japan. They've won a World Warrior in Japan, winning over thousands of the best players on the planet. It's just more like a consistency issue in showing up at these international tournaments where Hibiki hasn't gotten much shine. But yeah, in that first of three, Hibiki kind of cooked Menard, and yeah, maybe he should have busted out the Menon because, and that's what I remember him. Yeah. Mena bringing up Menon specifically, like, bro, the world doesn't know just how. Maybe I have to show the world how broken Menon really is. Like, I do remember him saying that.
Yeah, it was Menon and Lily. I remember it was like, what? Menon and Lily are broken. What?
Yo, you know, maybe every once in a while you just got to like make a shot in the dark. You know, just throw that tweet out a year prior, and then when something relevant comes up, you'd be like, man, I told you guys. I told you guys. Oh, dude, Marissa, you don't know about Marissa, guys. And then when something happens, told you guys. That's the tech.
The broken clock is right twice a day. Come on, you're just going dark. You're not even right. You're just gonna say something wrong on the internet, but when it pops up and it's right, you're gonna be like, "Told you, I was right."
Exactly.
Like, you're just throwing stuff in the air. You're just throwing something in like a digital hard drive and then just being ready when it actually does happen.
You know how many gimmick Twitter accounts are based entirely on that premise? What's the guy they're giving CPR to the guy, the face mask on?
Oh, yeah.
You do LeBron going to the 76ers. Wake me up when LeBron goes to the 76ers. You make that tweet 10 years ago and then revive the account when it happens. Yeah, that's what you do. You plant all the seeds, and then when your broken clock is right, you revive the account. Boom, easy 100K likes, man. That's the meta. That's how you do it.
It's so funny that people actually do that, because that a real thing actually did happen.
Yeah, I'm recalling a real tweet from NBA Twitter about this. It's a common thing. But he didn't bust out the Menard though for this Lily matchup. It was all Blanca for this one, and Hibiki ran away with that. But in losers, that did mean that after Menard took out Big Bird, he does run into Daigo in the run back from the first to 10. And just like the first to 10, Daigo wins the first to 2 in this set. He wins those first 2 games against Menard in the Akuma Blanca matchup. And, he also said on the Trash Talk podcast, he said Daigo's not done yet. There might be more for Daigo in this game still. He's qualified for EWC at the time, qualified for Capcom Cup as well this year. And he almost did it. Almost.
Daigo to 1 of it was a first to 2, the superior format, the format that Capcom knows. Capcom knows it's the better format. So Daigo to 1 of the first to 2. As far as I'm concerned, Daigo won the set.
Well, good thing that's not what we're concerned with, because in reality, it was a 3-0 reverse sweep after that. And Daigo would say, hey, hats off to Mena. Listen, Daigo's the one also advocating for longer formats. People, for some reason, like to interpret Daigo advocating for longer formats as him complaining about being washed. But there's plenty of situations where Daigo's winning these first to 2s, as we see here. And then in the longer set, he gets cooked instead. So Menard ran that all the way back, and we saw the pop off on that one. But that's got to be nerve-wracking, man. For Mena, going up in that situation.
That set was so funny because I really feel like, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, Daigo was playing like a madman. That set was they were slugging. There was no blocking. Daigo did like his ume shoryus maybe like 9-10 times. And in the beginning, they were just hitting. But, Daigo lived by the DP, died by the DP. After a while, Mena started catching on. And then, taking like 40% and burnout. But there were a lot of instances in that set where they were just trying to impose each other's will onto each other.
Right. I mean, if you block, you die also, right? You might as well. Like, this is not the game or the matchup to be blocking against Menard with the Blanca. So Daigo out on the loser side there and eliminated in groups. Menard moving on. But any other big surprises out of groups? I feel like for the most part, there were a lot of shakeups in the early group phases. For example, in the group that had Sahara, the Capcom Cup champion, Punk, Angry Bird, we saw coming out of that group Lex and Craime. Those are the 2 players that made it out of that group. So that was kind of surprising. Oh, Tokido and Nephew made it out on the loser side as well, but that's not what you would think at first. Sahara had a 3-0 set win over Punk and was then taken out by Lex and then Nephew. So big plays to those players. And Angry Bird was stopped by Craime and Tokido. So Tokido getting out of that group was also kind of very unexpected. Right?
Very surprising. Yeah. I feel like everyone says this, that JP is looking better. It's looking slightly better. Every time I see his JP at a tournament, it's like a little bit more sharpened. But JP is still very, very. It's when I think of Tokido, I don't think of JP. I think of Ken or Akuma. I don't see JP still, even though he's been getting top 8, and I think he got top 8 at BAM too, I believe. So he's getting better.
It's definitely getting better. I mean that's where Kakadu's going. Tokido is trying to make this switch stick in the minds of the people, because I feel like so many people doubt him, us included. Like, I'm gonna include myself and you. We talk about it, how it doesn't feel like it's there yet. I feel like there's all this noise and speculation from the fans and the audience over Tokido. I have to wonder if he has a little bit of a stubborn feeling about it himself, like, oh, I'm going to prove to everyone that whatever I choose to play, I can make happen. But he said to JP number 1, right? I think Rob got a little interview about him because, Rob is paying attention to the vibe of the scene and had to ask, like, hey, what's with the JP? Like, what are you thinking about it? He says JP's number 1, best character. I play best character, like, what else am I going to do? And that's what Kakadu's official job title is these days. He's Tokido's coach. He announced that he was trying to be involved in the esports scene still, and to some level. He still plays, of course, casually here and there, and like whenever he feels like it, he'll get ranked number 1 in the world. Like, he doesn't stick with it. Just today I feel like being the number 1 ranked player online with whatever character, including Yasmine now that just came out, and his job is to coach Tokido. So maybe that'll pay more dividends, because Tokido did get out of groups, which is a big play. but it didn't pay out in terms of a championship. That's not how it went down. As we start to whittle down the bracket, we get into the actual top 8, and me and Adam were speaking about this a little bit actually before starting to record. I feel like this top 8 is a little surprising, but also maybe a sign of the times. And Adam feels a bit more about there's some surprise players in this one.
I think you're kind of thinking on the sense that the newer players who were doing well this season got into top 8, but also I think if you called this top 8 from before the tournament started, like if you saw the 32 names listed in bracket, I think you would have got Mena and Leshar and maybe Hinao, but everyone else is kind of a bit surprising.
That's fair. That's fair. But I feel like 3 out of the 8, that's pretty good for Street Fighter 6 levels of top 8 prediction. That's a pretty good success rate if you get 3 out of 8. So the finals bracket came down to Booce Lee versus Yamaguchi, Menard versus Craime, Leshar versus Hibiki, and Kobayan versus Hinao. And yeah, I feel like a lot of those players make sense. Like Menard, Leshar, and Hinao. Hinao's been doing really well recently, but I would throw Kobayan in there, man, with the top 8 at Combo Breaker, winning DreamHack Atlanta. That's no surprise. I feel like he always gets top 3 at EVO Japan. He goes far in a lot of these brackets, so that's not surprising to me at all.
I think the other thing is like people are kind of like looking at, the Xiaohais, the Saharas, like those players, like obviously to make a run because, they won like really big championships. So it's kind of like those are the players you expect to see in the top 8. Obviously that doesn't always happen, or upsets happen, or whatever might happen. But yeah, it's still a bit surprising if you ask me.
Yeah, let's go back to actually Group D. That brings up a good point. We completely glossed over it.
Wow,
Group D was the biggest surprise because in that group, we had Xiaohai, the 2-time Esports World Cup champion in that group, along with Blaz. And, the Xiaohai-Blaz rivalry has been, was like the storyline in the previous season or previous year or so since that Esports World Cup. They keep showing up in these really critical moments and playing against each other. And the question was, like, is Xiaohai going to repeat this championship? Is Blaz going to run into Xiaohai this early in the bracket? Well, Xiaohai round 1 loses 3-1 to Phenom, which, I mean, it's like not surprising, but narratively is like, oh crap, it's out the window.
It's not surprising, but I think even the commentators brought it. I think the last 3 times Phenom played Xiaohai, I think he's won every time, actually.
Ooh.
So it wasn't, the commentators did bring it up, but that's kind of one of those things where it's like, it shouldn't have. I mean, Xiaohai should win, but I'm not surprised he won. But then, like, to go to losers after is really the rough spot.
Yeah, I feel like Phenom is always this sleeper pick in every event, even though he's so consistently strong and had they were both in the same EVO top 8 for Vegas last year. So Xiaohai ended up ending in 5th place at that EVO, where Phenom ended in 4th. And yeah, Phenom beat Xiaohai in that top 8 3-2. It's an easy stat point to forget because the Mai Kami matches they tend to blend together a little bit over time. So yeah, Phenom won the run back again against Xiaohai, and on the other side, Blaz loses round 1 to Gachikun 3-0, and then loses to Leshar and another run back 3-0. 0 games won for Blaz at this Esports World Cup.
I will say it was very surprising that Blaz lost to Gachikun. I'm not that, like, obviously Gachikun's amazing, but I will still say it's very surprising Blaz lost to Gachikun. Why did Leshar play Akuma? He was trolling the first game. He's gotta be. He keeps picking this Akuma and it doesn't work. He played Akuma versus Cien, and Leshar could do whatever he wants. He's one of the best players ever. Bro, that Akuma's not it. I feel like every time he picks Akuma, it's like, what are we doing?
His Akuma is obviously still incredibly strong, but his Ed is like an alien put on this earth to dismantle people, right? It's otherworldly. And Cien, I gotta give props to Cien though. He went through the LCQ. He's on a tear. He added the Kimberly to the arsenal and uses Kim in a lot of matchups now. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like he's like primarily maining Kim DJ counterpick now at this point, based on the tournaments that I've been seeing recently. And I feel like he was kind of in a slump for a little while, and he was even struggling to qualify for Capcom Cup out of his region in Singapore, where a lot of the players like Bravery and a few others were really stepping up in the past couple of seasons as well. And he's always been, as one of the other aging legacy pros who've been at the top of the game for both through Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6. He's often like, oh man, I don't know if I can keep up these days, right? He's kind of had a bit of that attitude. So big props to Cien for getting through the LCQ and having a good performance and taking out Leshar. But yeah, Leshar switches from the Akuma after losing to Cien and then dominates the loser side of this group with his Ed.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing, man?
I think it's kind of the same thing, because the same thing happened when he was playing Chun-Li. He was like, oh man, Chun-Li's kind of boring, and then I want to play like random characters. It's honestly kind of the same thing happening with Ed as well.
Yeah, he went through a weird phase after he got 5th place at Capcom Cup in 2023, the first season. He went to like Combo Breaker and all that and flunked out pretty early trying to mess around with Luke and other characters instead of his Chun.
Yeah, what was it? It was Luke. He had the Mai instance where his Mai was really good, but then he said Mai was boring, and then he tried to Terry, and then it's like,
right.
You're jumping ship so much.
Right. I think he's just really good, and so to keep things fresh, he likes to swap characters. It's just what keeps him motivated, I think, even though the Ed is clearly like the pinnacle of his characters, even though he's won majors and can win with others, but he ends up dropping to losers because of that. Xiao Hai, meanwhile, dropped to losers as well. Goes up against Dual Kevin. Dual Kevin, our guy Dual Kevin, ran through that LCQ. He's qualified to EWC every year through the LCQ, and this year he won it all and won it against Hibiki in the grand finals and took out Cien as well. But here in the loser side of groups, he goes up against Xiao Hai and beats Xiao Hai 3-1, takes out Cien 3-1, and gets on to the next phase. So Xiao Hai out 0-2 at Esports World Cup to Phenom and Dual Kevin.
It'd be like that. It'd be like that. He did try. I'm not that I don't want to say I'm that surprised, but like I said, going into the tournament, I was definitely expecting Xiao Hai to at least get like top 16, top 8. If you told me Xiao Hai was going 0-2 at the start of the tournament, I would be like, you're lying. You're lying to me.
Yeah, he was just always powered up at this event, but
yeah,
eventually you get got, man. I mean, it's still the best players in the world. First to 3 is still, you got to perform immediately right then and there. It's very easy to get got by any one of these players. But yeah, back to that top 8. Booce ends up being the sole USA representative in that finals, which I feel like was a long time coming, right? Booce took out Dual Kevin, took out Phenom, and then in the second phase, he took out Tokido and Hibiki to get through to the top 8. So he has been for a long time a big thorn in the side of everyone in that East Coast bracket, yourself included, Punk, right? He's been doing really well in the World Warriors. I've been seeing him throw looping you and outplaying you in every conceivable way in all those brackets.
Yeah,
you got nothing to say, man. You got nothing to say. He cooked you last time you played.
It's how the game works, man. I got nothing to say.
He was kind of cooking you last time you played. You got nothing to say about it? No props, no nothing?
Good stuff, and I'll be like that.
What about the patch though? I mean, all those Terry nerfs, you're gonna get him this time?
Good one. But yeah,
okay,
Booce played,
we'll see the run back.
Booce played well to get into top 8. He was playing amazing.
Yeah, he's always playing super good. I always enjoy watching him play. He's such a nerd, right? And I mean that in the most affectionate way possible. Like, they even showed a few of his notes that the notebook that they zoomed in on. What is the Carmen Cracker? What is this?
So apparently somebody did what should you call it? Did you ever have like the crackers that like came in the packet, and then there was like one cracker that was saltier than all the other crackers? That's the one you got to beat, because that's the cracker that's better than all the other ones.
But what does that have to do with the notes? So just for context, for people listening in, one of the matches, I forget which one, they caught a really good angle of Booce holding his notebook open where he had written notes on his opponents, and they were very detailed. There was a lot of notes written in there, and he would check these notes in between games when there's downtime to mentally refresh himself on his game plan. And the header of one of the notes for one of these sets just said Carmen Cracker, and it's like, what? What's going on here? So I don't know what that has to do with anything. The saltiest cracker. Was he saying his opponent is a Carmen Cracker who's going to be salty?
I don't know. It's self-motivation, I guess. You gotta have weird things that motivate you.
Is that his reward? If he does well in this set, he gets to have the extra seasoned salty cracker to
Cracker.
snack on. That's his reward. Either way, whatever the hell that means, it was working out for him because he was cooking into that top 8. Yamaguchi back there as well. It's good to see. I like Yamaguchi in this top 8 because after winning that EVO Japan, there's something that is satisfying to me about the player who didn't deserve, in the eyes of some people, the biggest championship, showing up again to be like, hey, it wasn't a fluke, right? Yamaguchi won EVO Japan, the largest Street Fighter bracket of all time. And of course, he plays Mai. People don't like Mai. They're like, oh no, carried, whatever, this, that, and the third. And he had a little bit of a rut of a season in the previous year. And, he had stronger results in like the early 2023 season of Street Fighter 6, but that was above and beyond his best performance. So for him to show up again, make a top 8 at Esports World Cup, I feel like that's a little bit of like, hey, like, look, I'm part of the club. Like, as much as you guys don't want to admit it, I'm part of the club.
I think that was a run back from EVO because Yamaguchi had beaten Booce at EVO this year. So that was pretty cool. I think also going into the top 8, the players got to pick who they wanted to play against. So I believe Booce did choose to play against Yamaguchi. That was just kind of how the format worked. If you got top 8 winners, you got to pick who you got to play against, which is very weird format. That was also kind of one thing about Esports World Cup that was very strange. The format was very weird.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you got to pick who you play against.
Yeah, because if you get through winners, you just qualify earlier. But I didn't know what the punishment was for qualifying through losers because it's single elim, first to 5, and top 8. I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah,
that's really weird. Okay, so Booce wanted his run back basically, and he also lost this one. Unfortunate.
You pick who you want to play against, but at the same time, the matchups in this game aren't that serious, and also, everyone's amazing, so it's going to be rough regardless.
Yeah, no matter what.
The other thing that was funny is Hibiki got in the top 8 and he lost twice. That's just not how he had a third life.
Yeah. Hibiki's run. He lost in first phase of groups to Kobayan 2-3, and then he also lost to Booce 2-3 as well, but still managed to get in here into the top 8. So because they reset every single time, you can actually proceed with multiple losses like that. So that format, in a weird way, might help a lower tier character like that, right? You get a few more chances, like an extra life, where normally Hibiki would have been out of there before top 8. But the next matchup, though, pretty interesting one here. Menard versus Craime. Both these players had an EVO top 8 finish. Craime with 4th, Menard with 1st, of course. And before we go into the further run, Craime getting this far, it's a big placement already for him, right? Because Craime, also the Chilean prodigy, younger than Blas. Blas had his breakout year in 2025 with his 2nd place finish at Capcom Cup, then 2nd place at Esports World Cup. And for the longest time, Craime was always kind of trying to get out of the shadow of Blas a little bit. He had his big breakout performance in CEO 2025 where he beat the brakes off of Daigo and made I believe, 5th place finish at that tournament. Really good run for him. But he competes in the World Warrior for Chile, for example. Blas had won 11 World Warriors in a row. Craime is like, oh my God, how do I get the Capcom Cup with my homie here beating me every single time? I swear I'm nice. Let me get out there. Like I swear I can beat some people, but Blas is giving me some trouble. But then this year, Blas falls out of EVO, I believe, at like maybe top 16 this year, top 24. Craime gets 4th place finish. Then Craime goes and wins the World Warrior for Chile, breaking the 11 win streak for Blas. And a small side note about that, there was a Chun-Li player named Benz who put Blas into losers first in that top 8 I just saw. Shout outs to Benz, not familiar with your game, but there's even more Chilean players doing work out there apparently.
But we need to know, how old is Benz? Benz is like 30 plus is over. Like the career is over, man.
Oh, that's his peak? That's his peak? Yeah.
That's his peak.
He has to be 13. He has to be younger than Craime to have time to jump them. Maybe, dude. I don't know. But like these players in Chile, it's crazy the level up that's happening there. There might be a third prodigy coming out of the Chile woodworks. We'll see. But yeah, he breaks Blaz's win streak there and wins a World Warrior. And it's like, whoa, the curse is broken. And then, this top 8 so far finished at Esports World Cup. So he's been having a lot of success so far this season, really leveling up. And he goes up against Mena RD. And Mena RD had also told me on Trash Talk that Craime had asked him for a stare down if they were to play at EVO, which did not happen. And Mena RD was like debating, like, when does the stare down gimmick lose its allure? When should we? I don't know if Craime's ready for it. I would grant it to him because he's young, successful, whatever. But I'm not trying to do a stare down every match, right? Well, they meet here at Esports World Cup, and it was time to grant him the stare down, and they go for it. And then Craime can't keep a straight face, man.
Yeah, Craime was just laughing. He knew something. Craime knew something because maybe the match at EVO when Craime lost, he probably lit a fire on him, or he probably had a lot of practice because like they also played at EVO, kind of like how Booce and Yamaguchi did. So they played at EVO and Craime lost, but it was a close 2-1. Like it could have went either way. It's like one micro decision that kind of gave Mena the win, but. Yeah, I feel like Craime came prepared and was just more ready for Blanca shenanigans, really.
Yeah, Craime, they played before top 8, right? So it wasn't like the stare down moments. And you can see the progression because in Street Fighter League USA, Craime did not have the best showing last season in Street Fighter League USA, where Blas there and was one of the MVPs of the entire event. Craime, I feel like, was struggling to get his offense going and feel comfortable in that environment. And Mena RD there also, he beat Craime bad, like one of the freest anchor sets we had seen of the whole event at that time. But then at EVO Vegas, close set in top 24, I believe. And then here, he does the stare down. He can't keep a straight face. I mean, he's just a kid having fun, basically. His kayfabe maybe needs a little bit of work, but he's 15 years old, and he's out there on this grand stage competing for tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he gets a stare down with Mena RD, and he can't hold it in. He laughs at Mena. He laughs at the situation. And then he goes on to beat Mena 5-3, breaking the stare down streak. This is the only stare down match that Mena RD has ever lost. And it was to Craime, the Chilean prodigy, who laughed during the stare down.
He knew something was coming. He knew something was coming. Props to Mena for keeping it close. 5-3 is a respectable loss and a 1-5 in my opinion. Like I think 5-3 is actually just like the cutoff. But Craime just played really good, and also a lot of that set was Craime putting Mena in a lot of situations where he got burned out. Not on his own accord. Like Ryu, crotch heavy in the EX Hashigeki was paying dividend.
Right. I mean, you have to choose. You have to choose on the guess, right? Like you hold the parry and he goes for the grab, you lose your drive gauge. If you decide to take the grab and he goes for the block string, then you lose your drive gauge, right? You're just guessing. The guess on block situation is so crazy with Ryu like that it's you're guessing how he's going to attack the drive gauge. And it's not even about getting hit really or not. It's just about can you protect the gauge or not. And Craime, his sequencing in that is top tier. But also I feel like he figured out better this season to alter his pacing. I think he's a lot more patient in between fighting those moments. Because when he beat Daigo, that was a speed run, dude. It was like he's in, he's going, he's applying his sequencing. It is nonstop pressure. Now you can see the evolution where he understands tempo better. He knows how to wait for the moments to crank it up and the moments to tone it down. So, but when he gets in, man, his offense, his sequencing with Ryu is absurd. Yeah, absurd.
Yeah, he was also using a lot of back heavy kick to kind of like catch up back Blanca ball, which is really good. He did that a lot, and a lot of his strings always went into back heavy kick to kind of stop the up back momentum. So I did notice that as well.
Yeah, great matchup awareness. A lot of people are starting to get a little bit more scientific, I think, with their approach on Blanca, right? Ways to catch Blanca out of the air to mitigate up back Blanca ball, which you have to do. So Craime takes it over Mena. Leshar Hibiki. Now we're looking at this like, how long is the dream run for Hibiki to go? And Leshar only gave up one game this time with Akuma. He won the first game. Good on you. Lost next with Akuma. Then he's like, all right, it's business time. It's top 8. He picked Ed on at that point, and Hibiki ran away with it, man. 5-3. Hibiki over Leshar, Lily versus Ed.
I don't remember if it was after the set or before the set, but Leshar did say, "I just hate Lily," and I thought it was so funny. He did say,
I didn't see that.
He was like, "I just hate Lily," and I just thought it was so funny because Lily's not really the most fun character to play against, and the way Lily kind of operates is very like annoying to play against. If
Yes.
we're being completely honest, but I thought it was funny. Even Leshar gets annoyed when he sees Lily on the screen.
Right. Yeah, there's always something to remember that it's not about how top tier or not a character often is. It's about how interactive they are. And some characters, low tier or not, are really annoying. Really annoying. And Lily definitely falls into that category. But with Hibiki, I loved watching Hibiki in this run because you forget with your average online Lily that she has an uppercut.
Yeah.
Because he uppercuts and anti-airs with that DP like an old Shoto main, like he's playing Ken or something. He cross cuts all the time. He chases down in the corner with it. There's so many situations where you would see other Lilies just rely on autopilot crouching heavy punch because it still hits pretty far behind her head. But there's also these pockets where it'll actually be able to be whiffed now because they slightly nerf the hitbox on it. And they would just get, it would whiff, they could counter hit and die. But he doesn't have that problem because he just uppercuts everything. And I'm like, oh, wait. Like, if you really practice this character and get good with them, she has tools that people are not using. I never see any Lily players uppercut like that, ever.
He also would always, like, air to air when somebody would jump back in the corner. Like he would slightly walk out and then be like command grab range, and obviously everyone's scared of the command grab. Then just like air to air for like a very damaging combo. So that was also kind of one good thing Hibiki did a lot. And the other one, he did wake up super a lot. He actually does. I feel like he never level 3'd. It was like he used level 1 more as a reversal, more so than waiting for like level 2 or level 3.
Right. And I did see him level 3 though, but it was also as reversals.
He
wanted the reversal.
Yeah.
Which you need. I mean, that's one of Lily's main weaknesses, right? Very bad defense, no reversal options, and even the level 3, it's not like a Zangief command grab. You can jump out for the flash. So having those reversal options are required to stop people from steamrolling. But there's a clear difference when you watch Hibiki. Like he's considered the best Lily in the world. For a reason, when you watch it, you see the difference. It's very eye-opening to see how strong that anti-air game could be, which, of course, plays synergistically with being a grappler and having a command grab, right? You're like, oh, wait, this is a grappler with a command grab and a DP. It's like, wait a minute, that sounds actually kind of good on paper. Oh, wait, this is why it's good. So very interesting to see that play out. Meanwhile, after Hibiki won that against Leshar, though, Kobayan Hinao kind of beat the crap out of Kobayan. Yeah. Chose the Ryu with this one. I don't even have much to say about that. Hinao's just, doing his thing.
Kobayan got steamrolled, but at the same time, just feel like every tap parry attempt got thrown and every hold up got meted. Like, I really don't know how else to describe that.
Hinao knows what he's doing. No fluke, man. Hinao's on a tear. This is definitely his season. One of the most consistent players since Chengdu China, period, in the entire field of competition. Combo Breaker Grand Finals, just won BAM, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And then back here in top 8. So actually doing extremely, extremely well recently. So big props to Hinao there. Then next semifinals, Yamaguchi Craime. Craime walks away with this one, man. So he walks away with it 5-3 over Yamaguchi's Mai, which means he beats 3 out of the 5 EVO or 3 out of the 6 EVO champions. Do I have the stat correct? All EVO champions: Angry Bird, Mena RD, Punk, Leshar, if you count EVO France, which I'm going to count here, and Yamaguchi. There's 5 of them. He took out Mena RD, Yamaguchi, and Angry Bird in this run. He did drop a set to Leshar. That's one of the people who beat him along his path here. He lost to Leshar in the second phase of groups. But he took out all of the EVO champions except for Punk and Leshar on this run. to get to grand finals, which is a crazy stat point. And Craime, 15 years old in that grand finals. Anything to say about the actual Yamaguchi set?
Not not really. Nah.
Ryumai, everyone's favorite.
It's hard because like a lot of the sets that you're talking about is kind of like, oh man, I remember when Hibiki did this or Mena did that, or or Hinao did that, bro. Ryumai, I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me. And, it's actually just It's Mai. Mai's really the one doing all the.
Mai does kind of inspire a little bit of amnesia in myself as well, so I don't blame you for that one. But Hibiki Hinao, this set was actually nuts. Lily versus Sagat. Hinao goes with the Sagat on this one. This was a back and forth dramatic set all the way down to the wire here. And people were really wondering, like, oh, is it now going to get to another grand finals? No, man.
I was expecting the 15-year-old Ryu grand finals. I was ready for it. I was hoping for it, but Hibiki, double their age, older than them combined, actually stopped it.
Yeah. Either way, like at that point in this tournament, that was the ideas people were having. Like, wait, no matter which way you slice it, we either have two 15-year-old kids competing in a $120,000 money match, right? Because the difference between first and second, first is $250K, second is $130K. So two 15-year-old kids playing for $120,000 in prizing, or we're gonna have a Lily in grand finals. Like no matter which way you slice it, something weird was happening here, or unexpected. But in the end, that set was really crazy to watch. If you haven't seen the Hibiki Hinao set, that might be one of the most entertaining sets from the top 8, I believe. Down to the wire, and with Lily, Hibiki comes out on top of that set and goes to grand finals versus Craime, which was definitely unexpected to see. But shout out to Hibiki, man. He's like I said before, he always has these flash in the pan moments in Japan when the Lily works out, and he finally had one of those moments at the biggest international level where the world can actually see how strong he is with this character, because he's been terrorizing Japan for years now.
I think a lot of it might have just be like I don't want to say match unfamiliarity, because that's obviously kind of like discrediting. But one thing I did realize, whenever like somebody from NA or EU played against Hibiki, they look lost. I don't know if you saw the Kills You Hibiki match, but oh my god, Kills You did not look like he knew what that character did. He looked so like distraught.
Yeah, that was the one of the few 3-0s he had. He 3-0'd Menard and Kills You on the run, and poor Kills You, I feel like he's been getting hit with the limits of his matchup experience. Maybe we saw that with Kills You versus Menard and Shigematsu, right, at EVO top 8, and now here against Lily and Hibiki.
I don't want to sound rude, but like, who is the best like Lily? Who is the Lily player to practice with in EU? Now that I'm actually trying to think about it.
I don't think there is a like dedicated professional Lily that is. I mean, I'm sure there's strong Lily players out there, but at a more hobbyist level, but there's no pro who's like that's what Japan can support. Japan can support an infrastructure where if you get really, really good at a weird character, you can get employed. That doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Hibiki has a job. He's employed to play Lily. Isn't that crazy to say? If you want to be employed to play Street Fighter anywhere else on the planet, you better be playing one of those top 10 characters minimum, and be winning these LCQs and getting into these tours, and you got to go above and beyond. So that's the type of environment that Japan has, that they can support and nurture this talents. And that got Craime and Hibiki in that grand finals. There was a third place match. They do those apparently for these. Hinao took out Yamaguchi 5-2. Sagat Mai, everyone's favorite. I got nothing to say about that one.
There was some Tiger knees, and there was some Tiger knees and EX fans. That's all I got.
And now in that third place match, he took out 5-2, and then Craime, Hibiki in the grand finals. They gave us the little the little martial arts show and the RGB drum sets coming out. A lot of fun there. And then they got into the action, and Craime with the Ryu takes it 5-2 over Hibiki and puts an end to the Lily run. And a year after Blas from Chile, 15 years old, getting into that grand finals, Craime gets it done. Also now 15. and wins Esports World Cup and takes the big prize home.
That grand finals was kind of weird, but I felt like the way Craime played was a lot of also Lily blocking too much and then getting put into burnout. But a lot of the instances where Craime was able to put Hibiki into burnout was just like one jump command grab into Ryu putting Lily into the corner and then like Lily having like no way to defend herself.
Hibiki went for command grab like 40 times in a row, and Craime
Yes.
jumped it 39 times.
Yes. Yeah. It was really bad.
There was a really stubborn streak where I feel like Hibiki's like, oh, yes, all part of my plan. I'm planting the seed of conditioning here. And then when they least expected, I'll command grab again. And then he kept jumping. And I'm like, dude, at one point, you're going to have to try a different option. But I don't know. Maybe first to 5 is not enough time to adapt because Craime just had the read. He guessed correctly basically every time.
Yeah. There was a lot of jumping command grabs, and there was also a lot of like Hibiki not being able to get started.
Yeah, so I mean, Craime played that beautifully, took the prize home. So congratulations to Craime. That is a huge, huge victory, and it's crazy to see that before Blas even gets his first championship, Craime gets his. He's definitely no longer, there's not going to be anything, oh, Blas is the number one out of Chile. No, like you got two world-class players, threats to win championships. Craime has gotten the first place prize first. Blas is still one of the best players on the planet. And now who knows who's going to come out next from the Chilean scene. Benz might be up next. I don't know, man. This is crazy to see the developments that's happening. And we're clearly seeing the new generation, dude. We're seeing the Hinaos, the Crimeites, the Blas, the new players come out. We're seeing the evolution of the scene right now.
I'm telling you, if anyone called that grand finals before like EWC started, I'm calling you a liar because there's no way you would have guessed that.
Right. No way.
Yeah.
No.
Impossible.
No. The weird part is Craime is the least surprising pick compared to Hibiki.
Craime. If he can get into grands, nobody called a Lily in grand final. I think that was Lily's first grand finals ever. Actually, I came like at a offline CPT event. I think. Yeah,
this was a Capcom Cup qualifier. So just to be clear on the stakes, it wasn't just the prize money, and neither of these players were Capcom Cup qualified, and that's pretty rare to be honest. Usually, in a lot of these premier finals, someone's already qualified. This was for the Gusto, and so Craime earned their qualification to Capcom Cup. So that's huge for Craime also, man. Like I said, before he was sweating, man. He's like, I swear I'm good. It just Blas is gatekeeping me right now. You know what I mean? It's like, finally, I get out of the way of Blas. I can just beat up all these unks over here, take all their money, qualify for Capcom Cup, and not have to sweat against Blas back home. So I suspect we'll be seeing both of them in Capcom Cup coming up. It's probably happening.
Now I'm trying to think that Blas hasn't been having that great of a season. I don't think he'll qualify for the leaderboards. I feel like he would qualify from the World Warrior though, but
correct.
Leaderboard wise,
yeah, I think that's probably the path that's going to go for him. I mean, he has some points on the board, right? He's not completely out of the running, but I would be very surprised if like another player comes out and stops him. If Benz comes out and stops him from qualifying.
But I mean,
the World Warrior.
Blas is good enough just to win like any of the last 3 tournaments we have left. So that's also up on the table as well.
Right. I'm trying to check where Blas is on the leaderboard. I don't even think he's in the top 30 right now, which is pretty surprising. He's not even in the top 30 in the world right now, so I don't know where he is in standings. So it's definitely been a little bit of a tougher season for him, but I mean, I don't know. Like you said, he could randomly come back and just win.
Yeah, just win
an entire premiere.
What's the next event? UFA? He could just win UFA, and we wouldn't be surprised.
Right, and then maybe Benz will get in through the World Warrior. I don't know. Chile might be taking over this whole thing. We might have a Chilean top 3 at Capcom Cup at this point. So I'll have to see how that shakes up. Anyways, that's Esports World Cup. That's the recap of that one. Quick little tangent here on Street Fighter League announcements for EU, which I should clarify is now EMEAA, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia. This is an interesting thing that they touched on in the Esports World Cup because there's been changes to the format for Street Fighter League coming up, and there is a plan to add more regions coming up in 2027. They had announced back in January that they're going to add the Street Fighter League Asia region. We were debating before going live if there was more details on it. It's been a while and they haven't talked much about what that means. I assume Asia means that they're going to keep Street Fighter League Japan and add a separate Asian region. But in the meantime, we have EMEAA. They announced the teams, and there's a lot of familiar faces. Not many of them from EU. Not many from EU.
It's so funny because, like I said, I feel like there were less than 10 actual Europeans announced. And it's very weird, but I I don't know too many European players already like that are kind of like there's a lot of European players, but like the really good European players need like a chance to show themselves. And I feel like Street Fighter League's supposed to be that chance, but they're just not getting it.
Right. And that was sort of the criticism that many people had for Street Fighter League USA for a long time, where Street Fighter League USA or US was kind of the international pool, right? US doesn't have that many top level representatives to fill out an entire roster necessarily. You could, but you know, it would have a little bit of the effect that you would saw in Street Fighter League EU, where some teams would be a lot more lopsided than others, I feel. And so because of that, they're like, okay, well, let's get all the people who aren't covered by Japan and EU over here, everyone from Asia. And they finally started adding a lot more attention to players from Latin America, South America as well, like we saw last year with the teams like 2Game and Red Rooster. And what they did to EU this year, because Street Fighter League USA is becoming Street Fighter League Americas, and I don't believe they've announced the full roster, but I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more representation from Latin America as well. And they're like, okay, like this Western side of the world, like the Americas will fill out this entire roster. Let's put everybody else not in Japan and not in the Americas in Street Fighter League EU. And let me go through the teams and you'll see what I'm saying. First up, Team Red Dunes. Angry Bird, Big Bird, Phenom, Juicy Joe. Broken, by the way. This is just Ninjas in Pajamas, another Ninjas in Pajamas situation that's so broken.
I was actually expecting the Dunes team to be somebody from, you know, the EMEA. I mean, yeah, from the Middle East. Actually, I was expecting more of a Middle East team more than that team, but that team's just broken.
Right. Yeah, they could have filled out an entire roster from, I don't know,
Hamoud.
Yeah.
Wasim.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of players to pull from to fill out that with just Middle Eastern players, but you know they're pulling some strings here. This is a broken team here. Team Mouse, Ending Walker, Problem X. Okay,
that's normal. Yeah.
Lex. Okay. DCQ.
Lex.
But DCQ is a gun for hire, man. This guy is just anywhere you need him. Anywhere you need him. Hey, man, you need me on your team? I got you covered. So DCQ in there on Team Mouse, which was pretty expected up until that point. So, okay, DCQ in there. Now we have Team MVS. This is going to be a little bit of the French team here, right? Got Mr. Crimson, Kills You, of course. Two of the French staples right there. NL out of Korea. And Leshar.
Well, Leshar gets a pass. He won EVO France.
Oh, okay, honorary Frenchman. I didn't even consider that angle.
Yeah, exactly. And NL's been to France a million times, so he's French at this point.
Okay, I like how MVS likes how you're thinking, Item. Okay, I did not even consider that at all. That team's busted too, now that I think about it. Really, really strong team right there. So interesting. Now, Team Falcons. Falcons, of course, is the Saudi team here. So they're going to have actually Falcons players on there, like Kusanagi. And Xiaohai was sometimes Team Falcons. I don't know. His sponsorship history gets confusing to me. Mickey and VX Bao, which is crazy for a couple of reasons, because aside from Kusanagi, who could have been on the French team, none of these players are from EU, and they all play Mai. Or at least they did until maybe this week. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
The 4 Mai team may not be that good right now, in my opinion. But, that's still an insanely strong team by, Street Fighter League EU standards, at least putting all the teams against each other. And, Team Mouse actually has 2 people from Brooklyn on that team that I also want to throw out there. They're not, honorary EU. There's 2 Brooklyn, people from New York. So not really doing the right thing.
Ending Walker and DCQ?
No. You got Alexa Problem X. Come on.
My bad. Yeah, whenever Problem X wins, he's from New York. That's always how it works.
Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn specifically.
Yeah, you gotta say
You're
Brooklyn
right.
specific.
You're
But
right. Of course, my bad. We have one more team with the roster announced. Yes Sports, Yay Sports. I'm not sure how you say that name specifically, but this is going to be your squad from Hong Kong, of course. Chris Wong, Rain Pro, Hot Dog 29, and Kikuma all repping Hong Kong here in Street Fighter League EMEAA. And then there's one unannounced team, GTW, which I believe is a Chinese team. I'm not sure exactly which region they're from, but they're another Asian team as well. So we have to see what players are going to be on that squad. So yeah, basically a lot of the players, if you've been watching Street Fighter League USA, this is basically all those strong players who are having good performances there from Asia are now in Street Fighter League EU. So not surprise picks overall for Street Fighter League. I think all of them except for maybe Kikuma are returning Street Fighter League players. I think every single other player has either participated in Street Fighter League USA or Street Fighter League EU in the past. So not a shakeup in terms of the roster overall, but I'm sure some people were feeling a little like, what about all of our EU teams, our EU players? We had this infrastructure here to support development here, and now it's a lot of players from other regions.
I never thought of it like that. Where like, yeah, there's everyone there has pretty much been on Street Fighter League before, so like you're not giving like more of the newer player kind of like a chance to really show their skills. And yeah, it probably sucks if you're, trying to make a name for yourself in EU.
Right. Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate byproduct of this, that we lack like this infrastructure for developing players in regions, which is what I feel like Street Fighter League Japan is doing really well. But because there's so many limited slots right now, like it's being gobbled up by the top players from all these regions really quick.
No, the players that but we did have the Street Fighter League Amateur League in Street Fighter 5 that nobody remembers. And I remember Team New York won. We got a pizza party at our local. I'm serious. You're laughing, but we got a pizza party. Yo, Jabali hooked us up with some pizza. They got jackets. It was, that was their hard work got us free pizza.
Esports, baby. That's what we're playing for. We're playing for the pizza party, where they slice the one slice of pizza into like 1/4-inch strips, and then you get one strip and a little solo cup of little tiny mini dentist mouthwash cup of soda. Oh, good job, guys. Here you go. Here's your pizza. Save some for the rest of the class.
Who was on that team? It was Mylin, Tega, Defeat Lee. Who else? It was two other people. And I really can't remember Team New York. And
ancient history, man.
On the law, and I forgot who the last one was.
Well, ancient history. Maybe they got to bring that back to help provide more opportunities for strong but not yet pro players. So I'm sure the competition here will be really strong. Of course, these are all great, amazing players. It might be a better product overall, but of course, like whenever these kind of changes, some people feel a little, maybe rubbed the wrong way about the direction things might be going in. There's definitely criticism that could be made in terms of these developments, but overall, the level of competition is definitely higher, I would have to say, objectively. No diss to any players knocked out, but these are established pros doing work.
I do think the Street Fighter League would be better because last year was just kind of like ninjas in pajamas running away with it, and it was like that was one of the, I don't want to say worst seasons, but it was kind of like, right, ninjas in pajamas obviously is going to win. Now, I don't know if Ninja in Pajamas is going to win, so that's pretty better. Is much better.
I think it was Ending Walker versus Ninjas in Pajamas, right? Like that was kind of like Ending Walker was like the one guy going up against the Titans, like trying to carry his squad. Yeah, it was tough. That team is just always busted, and now they're back again with Red Dunes pretty much. So it's like it's always. But Phenom finds a way to assemble the most broken squad every time. Like we got to give props to Phenom. Him and his teams, like they find a way to get the grimiest squad together. So that's the update for Street Fighter League EMEAA EMEAA, so we'll see how that all shakes up. Hey, we'll get right back to the discussion, but first, I'm proud to thank today's sponsor, Victrix. I've been using the Victrix Pro KO leverless controller as my daily driver for at-home practicing and for traveling to tournaments for over a year now, and I honestly love this controller. And now Victrix is refreshing their look with the classic throwback with the Street Fighter II Champion Edition design. This hits all the marks for me for a leverless controller, starting with just the build of it. It's the perfect blend of being large enough to sit on your lap with ample wrist room and maintaining an ergonomic button design while also still being extremely portable. But I think the biggest thing is how forward-thinking the features of this controller really are. The aluminum top plate has a customizable button layout so that you can get the configuration that you prefer. Also, the extra buttons and components and the tool to swap the buttons are literally stashed inside the controller itself. Me personally, I like to use an extra thumb button here for easy access to Street Fighter 6 parry macro. The customization, of course, extends to the fashion because you can completely customize the LED configuration for the controller as well. So if you're interested as well, you can head over to the link in the pinned comment or description and use coupon code BrianF at checkout for 10% off. Using the BrianF checkout code does help support me and the Trash Talk podcast, so I would really appreciate it. And thanks again to Victrix for sponsoring this episode. Okay, back to the discussion. Let's get into it. We're already an hour in the show. We're running behind on this. We're yapping way too much here. This is probably what you're all here for in the first place. The Street Fighter 6 balance patch. We finally got the August update. I don't even want to call this season 4 like some people were referring to it as. There's no ver for this if you look at the official battle change list. This is the 08/03/2026 update, but it happens to coincide with the release of Yasmine. And in this change, I would say this is probably one of the more impactful character balance patches we've had that's still relative to Street Fighter 6 standards. To get it out of the way in the first place, there's no system changes. There's no changes whatsoever at a system level, unless you're modern controls, which we can touch on a little bit. But I had already kind of accepted that nothing was going to change here. What do you think, Idom? Did you have any copium that they're going to listen to Idom here and change everything that you want changed in Street Fighter 6?
They said it before that there are no system changes. My expectation was low. I might be one of the few people like, I get it. It was a good update. It wasn't what I was looking for, but it was actually a good update. It was better than what I was expecting. But my expectation was like in the shitter. So it was already kind of like really bad.
Yeah, they put out a lot of nothing burger patches for a while. So these changes actually seem like they're making a real effort to try to take a stab at some pain points that people are having with the balance. The other the other notable overall adjustment was modern controls. They added a lot of changes to the button availability and the auto combos and the modified normals that are available on certain characters, and also added the ability for the down special to give different strengths of the move. So down back will give, I believe, light, maybe. I'm not sure the assignment, but the idea is down back, down, and down forward all give different strengths of the special assigned to the down special. So they're cramming a lot more utility into modern controls, which is intended to make modern controls equally as viable as classic controls. That's clearly Capcom's vision. They stated that as much multiple times. They don't want modern controls to be like an onboarding tool to classic. They want it to be seen as like two different but equally viable control schemes to use even at high level. But it's funny because I feel like at this point, modern controls is actually so much more complex than classic. I think it's such a complex control scheme. And now they're shoving even more like options into the control scheme as well. It's kind of hard to manage, I feel like.
Really, I disagree with you because I think it's confusing if you played a fighting game before. I think if Street Fighter 6 is your first fighting game, because I met people who are like, modern's way easier to understand than classic. So maybe if you started on modern, it's probably better. But if because we played fighting games before Street Fighter 6, we're probably just like, yeah, this is confusing. This doesn't make any sense.
Sure, but I still feel like the need to hold the special button to modify your attacks like a shift key is still very weird. It feels like there's weird times where you get to modify or fight the control scheme to get certain attacks to happen because you have to use that modifier button to change the normal you get. So I don't know. I find that to be like a little weird. But of course, whatever you're used to. People obviously use it proficiently. It's not the end of the world. But I do find it a little funny considering how most people perceive modern controls. It's supposed to be the easier one to most people's like perspective, but Capcom's clearly like, nah, it's not the goal. And by the way, we're adding even more inputs and more like down, back, down, and down forward are all different options. So now that if you want a split second reaction with your specific strength of a move, you got to, move your direction and choose that. I do feel like it's adding complexity because maybe like down, back would give you the version of your special move that you wanted. But now you have to change your position. You have to move out of the block position to get a certain strength, right? So I feel like they're like, they're kind of making it harder to master in a way, but giving it more utility.
But you do get the moves, so that's also kind of a benefit. You're getting more moves to use, so that's also a lot better. And maybe you had the shitty version of the move that you wanted. I think like Menon's command grab was always the medium one, but now you can get light or heavy, which is way better than a medium one.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, the characters, it's definitely a buff overall. It's a buff 100%. Like, I wonder if certain characters now are going to cross that threshold where now they're viable or better with modern. Like Chun-Li, like maybe Chun-Li's now even better. Like, it was already a debate for modern Chun-Li versus classic. I wonder now what the implications will be for that. So, something to look out for. It's just a minor note here. You might be seeing a few experimental modern players coming out. Like, maybe this character might be more viable in this sense. So if you've ever been interested in modern, I would definitely recommend checking it out and seeing if there's something you can leverage for that. But overall, let's get some big impressions for this balance patch. There's a lot of changes. I already did like a big winners and losers from this one. Let's do the main one, get it out of the way. They actually did some nerfs, man. They actually did some big nerfs. What do you think?
I think I already disagree. I think one character got nerfed, and I think everyone else is fine.
Okay, well, the one character that got nerfed, I'm going to think that you're thinking of Mai.
No. I think Mai went from like top 5 to maybe like top like 9 or 10th best in the game. I don't think the nerf is that bad.
So you think Ed's the most nerfed?
Yes, I think Ed got nerfed the hardest.
Well, let's talk about it. I think I disagree with you. Those are the two characters I picked as the most nerfed. And I feel like Mai is definitely still really strong, but for sure got the biggest nerfs, in my opinion. Because what they did to Mai, the biggest change, I think, is her level 1 is no longer invincible, which I think is a big deal because level 1 was this icing on the cake that kind of tied everything together. She had the most broken fireball in the game and really oppressive offense with the charge version of the fan and the OD version. And then on top of that, if you got your turn going, the threat of level 1 was really bad because the risk reward was horrible because when she landed the level 1 as a reversal, it still gave her all the stocks, which made her projectile game even more oppressive and would allow her to steamroll on a reversal situation. So now that level 1 is not invincible, she has to route into it in other ways and actually combo into it or anti-her with it to land it and make it and earn that install. So I think they overloaded that install in the level 1 and made it invincible. Like that was too much to have. So I think that's a very fair nerf, to be honest, which is big for her burnout defense. Also, she's going to have no invincible reversal without at least level 2. And they also made it so that OD Rienbu is like a completely different move, buffed in some ways, nerfed in other ways. It's safe on block now, but doesn't let her combo to level 1 mid screen. She's going to have to do like OD tackle conversions, which I think are a little bit more limited, but still pretty accessible to get like 1 or 2 OD meters to combo into level 1 mid screen. So they also add a lot of recovery and stun medium punches and other nerfs, but they didn't touch the fireballs.
Yeah.
So with that said, you don't think that that's as big a nerf as Ed having his flicker not pulling for throw range?
Well, the flicker not being in throw range is crazy because what does Ed do? He's going to pull you in and then you're just going to sit there and watch? There's no threat. And you could easily just tap parry, and Ed's going to walk up on you, but then you could easily just smash as well. I feel like not being in throw range kind of defeats the whole purpose of the game anyway. Like you obviously want to pull somebody close enough to be strike throw. It's not really threatening if he's just going to pull you in constantly and do nothing. I just sit there and parry. It's kind of like how I always say, Guile would be garbage if you couldn't do fireball drive rush. Like that's just how the game is.
Sure, but what's funny is I heard that exact same discussion point when they nerfed the backdash out of flicker for Ed, where the hurt box is extended and the DIs now would make contact with the air in front of him, and it was almost impossible for him to back sway out of DIs on reaction to the flicker. People are like, "What's the point of the move?" But it still dodges DI sometimes. Like it's you know what I mean? It still does its thing sometimes. I feel like the flicker is still going to be useful for pulling into low forward range and button range to harass with to get your pressure going.
I don't know, because I feel like that's already a waste of drive. And like I said, the other person is not really feeling threatened. When you say with the backdash on the flicker change, DI is still very risky. If your DI gets DI back, then you could also still just get baited. I feel like there's no danger zone. If Ed pulls me in, it's whatever. If I block this, it's whatever. I'm not my drive meter's not getting chunked. It's not like a Blanca. Ed can't chunk my drive meter. He doesn't have strings for that. So Ed's just doing nothing. It's a nothing move
Mm.
now. We're kind of in a stalemate. My
Well, it'll still be anti-projectile. Go ahead with my one. Hear your thoughts on my.
yeah, the level one not being invincible kind of sucks. That one's just really bad. But yeah, she could still route into it. She could still obviously throw a loop. She's still gonna chunk your drive meter if you're blocking in the corner. Her game plan is still there. It's just literally to me, it's just the level one.
Yeah, I see your point. I see your point where you're saying with the core game plan is still intact, which is everything around her fan and the heavy punch and how they basically all the ways that the fan synergizes with the rest of her tool set. That's intact. But with Ed, the flicker was a big part of the glue or the main glue that held everything together, and that's nerfed to a
Yeah.
very significant degree. And to those listening who might not be watching like a video example of this on the screen or something, like if you parry the flicker,
You
it
know,
doesn't.
you know
It
what?
literally, you're digging your heels into the sand, and he can't pull you in. You know what I mean? Like you go
Yeah.
nowhere. And I think the closest it pulls you in, if they don't parry, is like a solid crouching medium punch range. So you're still plus as Ed. You still get them in range for like which crouching medium punch is this low confirm that you can driver's cancel. So like if they just hold back autopilot, you can go low and driver's cancel and punish them for that. But for you to get a throw, you're gonna have to walk a mile to get in, and they're gonna check you, right? So, but I think it's still a situation where it'll still be good for interacting with fireball characters and punish the people for using fireballs. It can still threaten people's drive gauge. You can still play the chicken mini game of parry against it and dash in or delay it and let them hold parry. There's that game of chicken between are they going to hold parry and drive rush? Do I sit here and hold parry the whole time? Should I command dash in and throw them? And also pulling in to be plus at that range, you still have heavy punch to do it again. Like there's still like looping pressure, I feel like. But I do agree it's extremely nerfed compared to the way it was before. But I don't know if I agree that it's a nothing burger move.
I feel like that move is I don't want to say like 100% useless, but I do feel like it's probably going to be really bad. EX Flicker though obviously still does the same thing, so like you'll just get pulled in for a strike throw. But like to me, there's just no guess. I feel like your plus with no threat is kind of like it reminds me of like Balrog. I feel like you're comparing Balrog EX Dash Punch to Poison's Heart Rate. Like Poison was close enough to throw. With Dash Punch, it was kind of just, oh, okay, you're plus, but you're not doing anything. Like, there's nothing to really be scared of.
I see what you're saying for sure. However, how about this? Ed still has his neutral though. Like
Yeah.
the flicker was busted, but Ed's neutral is still busted without it. All of his normals and everything, and he still has the OD version to pull for plus frame. So I feel like it's not. He has other things to fall back on. I feel like with Mai, if you got rid of her fan bounce, she would be just like completely like way weaker. Like her neutral is still great, but like she's not gonna get mix and not just get in for free and loop it over and over, right? So I think there's still a large enough portion of the character where Ed is still good, but he's definitely nerfed. The other thing they did though is they added the scaling on his OD Blitz. Also, the other funny thing is now both OD Blitz and Light Blitz, they start with an additional 30% of scaling for combos. So for Light Blitz, if that counter hit or punish counter, you can link out of it and get combos. But OD Blitz is, of course, how you route into the level 2 for the Dream combo. They tried so many ways to nerf Dream combo. They nerfed when the drive gauge damage occurred. They nerfed meter build. They nerfed crouching light kick and how it can combo into itself on counter hit. They made OD Blitz -4, so it's punchable on block and force you to cancel if you didn't hit confirm it. They kept adding all these things. Now they're just like, fuck it, dude. This combo's gonna do no damage. Like they finally said no more damage. So I haven't seen the final damage reduction on OD Blitz to level 2, but that's a lot. Starting with 30% scaling right away. If you do like a light into the OD Blitz into level 2, it's probably going to start tickling them at close to minimum scaling. So, yeah.
I wish they didn't change that because like I still think the Dream combo was cool, but at the same time, it kind of took away it's kind of what I'm noticing with the patch. They keep nerfing the technical characters. I would want them not to nerf the JPs, the Eds, and target more so like the Mai's and the Sagats more. But I know that's just kind of like a whole different discussion. And maybe the easier characters being good is kind of better for the game. But they even said it in
Yeah.
the patch notes that they think the game's pretty stable balance wise. Like the characters aren't too far apart from each other.
No, and they aren't. Those little differences make a big impact. So I think they addressed a lot of those. Sagat was another character that was obviously running amok for a while, and they didn't address what most people were looking for, which was the stand medium punch being absurd in pressure. But they gave him the Luke treatment. They added 15% scaling on crouching medium punch, which is what they did to Luke after season 1, which means like that's kind of like what he fished with to get the massive damage. So I think that's actually kind of makes sense. Like he's still gonna have his pressure. They clearly want Sagat to spam stand medium punch. He's a brawler that's gonna do that. That's what they want. Just tone down the way he fishes for damage outside of that. So it might be impactful.
I don't think that nerf, like, it's obviously a nerf, but I don't think it's that serious, to be honest. Because like most of Sagat's damage just comes from like a trade on stand medium punch combo. Obviously, you could throw out 15 crouch medium punches and clip you, but even on block, it's still really strong. Like he's just gonna go back into the stand medium punch pressure. It's not. I don't really think it's that big of a nerf, to be honest. I still think Sagat's gonna be really strong.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good, but I feel like that helps the random you die factor. Because for him to get, at least if he's gonna get the damage from a stand medium punch, he has to get in to make that happen. So he either burnt bar on driver's cancel or already had a knockdown or found a way in to make it happen in the first place. Whereas crouching medium punch, if he's fishing for that and lands that randomly and you die, it's just like, okay, like at least force him to not get as much reward from that. And if I block it, then he can get more reward if he finds the frame trap after, but he burnt bar to get there.
Oh no, because I feel like it's still just easy to do. I think there was a clip of Hinao who just did he did drive rush medium punch like 3 times and then like backed up and then he just did drive rush again on medium punch. I'm like, yeah, it's just you gotta get in. Like drive rush is obviously there to help. And to me, like I said, I think that's why they don't want to change the system mechanic. It balances the game and it really does help. But at the same time, it's just Sagat's gonna do his thing still. I don't think that nerf was that serious.
No, I mean, his game plan is still intact, but I think it'll help a little bit from the robbery. I mean, 50% scaling on a crouching medium punch driver's cancel, that adds up. Like the driver's cancel adds scaling. Like it'll be a big hit to the damage on a crouching medium punch buffer. So I think that helps with the random explosiveness out of nowhere. So I appreciate that nerf at least. But yeah, he's still gonna pressure the shit out of you up close. But he got nerfed way less hard than like the Mai or the Ed. So they want him to do that. Here, let me ask you your opinion on this change. You mentioned them nerfing the technical characters. I do agree that developers, especially in modern fighting games and with Street Fighter 6, they want to keep the game contained. They want like their vision to come to fruition. And I feel like characters like JP and Ed gave enough freedom for players to kind of go off the rails a little bit from what they intended. Dream combo, no way they intended that. That was not part of the plan, right? That was emergent gameplay that they did not intend, and they've been trying to figure out how to address this without people revolting. However, speaking of making things work and, nerfing technical characters, I talked about this Marissa buff, and I already did this on my own YouTube, More Brian F second channel. A lot of Marissa players got mad at me. I said that this change was scrubby. They made stand medium punch, the second hit target combo, now juggle in case you jumped and caused an air reset. Normally, when Marissa players, they're mashing stand medium punch target combo. That's how they get the party started. If you block that, if you get hit, it's a combo. If you block it, then they start the mini game of Gladius or whatever, and then you're guessing on if are they going to charge it, not charge it, yada yada. And it's pretty much safe unless that you get a perfect parry. And Marissas that are just mashing spam that, and that's the mini game. They made it now so that if you jump or backdash, which was a tactic people would use to force it to whiff if you're spamming it, you would air reset, land, and punish the whiff on the second hit of the target combo. It now juggles on the second hit, and then you'll air reset after or land after. So if they cancel to a special move, you will fall into the special move and it'll be meaty. And I said, that feels kind of like a scrubby change, which is encouraging autopilot play and removing defensive options. I wonder what you think about it.
I think there was like 4 or 5 changes in this patch that actually does that, funny enough. I think the patch had a lot of that, but I think is also trying to make the game simplistic, make the game kind of like not that complex for a lot of new players. I felt like that one of the Manon changes. I actually don't like that the Manon, like the spin ballerina kick went from -5 to -3. And I
Mm.
was like, wait a minute, you were supposed to hit confirm that. And now it's kind of, hey, just do it. It's safe anyway. And now you get the perfect parry mini game. And it's like, why would you change that? I thought that was kind of a skill thing. Viper's change with the jump cancels are easier. Kimberly got the medium kick is harder to whiff punish. Jamie got the heavy kick is harder to whiff punish. And it's like, why are we doing these changes? You shouldn't be whiffing these moves, or you should be hit confirming. I think that this patch did a lot of that, but I think they did that to bring the characters in line because Ryu don't care. Ryu just doing combos on block anyway, so you might as well let every character do combos on block.
Yeah, I don't like that direction. I was, in general, things that are designed to make you have to think less about the consequence of your action. I think that's the problem I have with this
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
hoping to go the other direction. But it was funny that I mentioned that, and I called it a little scrubby, and I got a lot of pushback from Mercy players, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't think what I said was controversial at all. I'm surprised to see that. I'm sorry if I offended you for saying that, but it objectively reduces the decision space. You are Marissa, you get in, you mash medium punch, and there's no consequence. Like, there's no downside. And the counterplay that was there to create a downside is gone. I get that she's a bad character and she can be buffed, but I feel like that change was like not to buff the character to be stronger, but to buff people to prevent them from making
Right.
mistakes. Like putting
Yeah.
more bumpers on the lane. That's how I feel like that change was, rather than improving your technique with the bowling ball, is how
Yeah.
I would try to draw an analogy there. And yeah, there were a few places like that in the patch I saw.
There were so, I feel like there were so many. Lily got that change too. Lily got the light condor is like has faster recovery, so now she doesn't get hit or something, or like now you just do light condor because why not? There's so many changes like that, and I don't know who this. Maybe this game's not for me. Maybe this game's for the new players trying to get into it. But there's so many changes like that. It's like this is just kind of scrubby. Like there's no other word to kind of phrase it. It's just kind of scrubby.
Yeah, I feel like we should clarify what that means, right? Like, they clearly are just trying to make the tools better and have less consequence to make the characters better, where I feel like that, rather than addressing fundamental design philosophies, because even Ryu was another character who they buffed, right? And I was like, dude,
Yeah.
Ryu's one of the characters that clearly needs to be addressed, because Ryu's problem is that he has too many things that are degenerate without consequence. I don't
Mhm.
mind how Ryu plays at high level that much. I think his pressure on block and the drive gauge damage is too much. But like, what I care about with Ryu is how he plays at not high level. His donkey kick shenanigans are dumb. Like, that is just dumb. It's dumb gameplay. It's dumb to do and dumb to fight against. It's not engaging when someone is pressing donkey kick over and over, and the risk reward is just not there because for some reason the hurt box doesn't exist. The pushback is insane, and they can kind of just spam it. And when you try to punish it in a way that makes sense, hey, you took a risk with this giant forward moving advancing special move that is safe on a block, but you finally whiffed it. The recovery is not there, and then you might get punished for attempting to whiff punish it. It's like they put too much pressure on the defender than the offensive player in that situation.
It's funny you brought up donkey kick because that happened to Kobayan. He lost to Hinao because he tried to whiff punish a donkey kick, and he got like crush medium punched into like 70%. And I was like, yep. It'd be
Yeah.
like that. But I think people see it from the other side of that, where it's like, obviously you're complaining about donkey kick, but then it'd be like, people would be like, he now had so much resources as Ryu, so he deserves that damage. That was a good bait. You whiffed to make me whiff to try to punish donkey kick, so I whiff punished your whiff.
Right. Right.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the game operates in some of these situations. So those are like the corner scenarios where I'm like, oh, it would be nice to make this feel a little bit less silly. And yeah, I do agree. I feel like I read some of these changes and I'm like, oh, like, to buff these characters, you're trying to make them equally as silly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could be, some people find that very fun. I mean, I'm not gonna say you're wrong for rooting for your character to have the silly buff, right? Like, if you're a Marissa player, for example, hey man, It's time to have some fun. It's time to press some medium punch and have some fun. I can see that being very fun to play with, but it's just a different design philosophy. So
I think they were kind of scared. They're very scared to nerf like system changes because either A, they don't know how the system's going to play out, or B, the game will get like way less balanced. And obviously, I think balance is something they're kind of priding themselves on. Like they keep bringing out, hey man, this game's really the game's really balanced, game's really stable. We just saw Lillian grand final. I think every tournament, no tournament this season has had more than 2 characters in top 8. So the game is pretty balanced there. But I also think it's just like a lot of scrubby stuff, and I hate like I wish there was a word I could find that other than scrubby, because scrubby feels bad to say probably for some people, but it's just a lot of scrubby stuff that I wish they would kind of address, or just be like, hey man, we know that you think this is scrubby, but I think this kind of balances the game, because I feel like there's like easily more than like 9 or 10 things that didn't get addressed. Chun-Li's overhead also was another thing. I was like, why?
they made Chun-Li's overhead plus unblock
Plus,
now out of her
yeah.
out of her stance. Yeah, I don't know. It's clear that they're trying to go for a more of a higher power level game, right? I was surprised to see nerfs at all because I feel like they've been allergic to nerfing for so long. So I was actually almost shocked to see that they nerfed Ed and Mai in that sense, which with actual meaningful nerfs. It's been a while since we've seen stuff like that. Kind of like season 1, I feel like was with Luke was like the most impactful nerfs I can recall, and some changes with Ken as well. So they want people to have fun with their characters. I mean, that's the philosophy. It is what it is. I do agree that scrubby is like a harsh word to use. It has such a negative connotation. They just want moves and tools to be powerful with little downside, is how I would say. Like that's a clear thing that they're trying to address. If this tool is important for the character or has significant amount of risk, let's make it so that it doesn't have risk to improve this character's strength. Like that's what they're doing in a lot of situations.
I think they also see it as like every move has risk because DI and parry. And it's just because the system mechanics are strong. Like obviously the non-spin thing is scrubby, but you could just DI it. But that sounds like such a cop-out thing to say. It's kind of like whenever somebody's like, oh, this move's strong, just perfect parry. Oh, you don't like Cammy's dive kick? Perfect parry is right there. It's like, that's such a cop-out answer.
Well, it is what it is, but I do think overall though the changes are decent for balance, but there's definitely some silly ones in there. But I think they want the game to be a little bit silly. Like this is kind of it's not a crazy amount of silliness out of this patch, but they're adding it to it, right? They didn't detract any silliness from certain characters like Ryu, I would say, and they're adding to it. So I think for the game, it makes sense, right? Like a lot of characters and players will have something fun to come back to. And I think that's part of the philosophy with Street Fighter 6 is they want players to see these balance updates and be like, oh, yippee, I have a new fun tool to play with. And I can get a little bit of a dopamine hit from using this, and I can quickly abuse this in a match, right? I think that's kind of the philosophy that they're going for, so that people boot up and have fun.
But I mean, I think there's better ways to go about it. Like the Kimberly 3 bombs thing, I think that's a cool change. The medium kick being harder to whiff punish is just like, bro, why? Like,
I don't understand that.
It's a silly change. Like, I think
I don't understand that.
There's good changes, and then there's like, why? The why changes.
Yeah, I always like the extended hurt boxes on normals, and they did that to Sagat, for example. Like they added to his stand medium kick, which is almost analogous, I feel like, to Kimberly stand medium kick, except Kimberly stand medium kick dry rush cancels into everything, and then Sagat just confirms into a target combo knockdown. They added whiff recovery and hurt box extension. And it's like, oh, these are good things. Like, I feel like anytime you add hurt box extensions, I'm always like, nice. Like, to me, like, you could do that. You could make up a random patch note and just add a hurt box extension. And I'm like, okay, cool. Nice. Like, I don't know. I love those kind of changes because it's like they're clearly encouraging whiff punishing. And on the same note, I really loved the Honda change because I feel like Honda was one of the characters that they changed to make him less scrubby, right? Honda, he got nerfed because stand medium punch, which, you know, Honda's trajectory through this game, he was a headbutt and butt slam dispenser, and they sort of nerfed those a little bit, and now he became a medium punch dispenser. And now what they did is they added 2 frames of recovery to his medium punch. It was 15 frames of recovery, now it's 17, and they extended the hurt box around his body when he whiffs it. So it's like, okay, look, we heard you. People are just mashing this button. It's plus on block. They're spamming it. But even when they whiff it, you try to whiff punish, you get hit by the second one. Let's make it easier to whiff punish. And I'm like, oh my God. Yes, that move felt scrubby to deal with. It felt like they were just kind of mashing it, and it was too difficult to deal with versus the reward they get when you messed up. And then they compensated for that by giving him a better stand heavy kick. Crouching heavy punch can hit confirm to super art. They gave him better Oki with his sumo dash, the walk forward move, and new utility out of that. They gave him like more stable buffs to improve like more structured, stable gameplay. And I'm like, oh, whoa, yeah, that's what Honda needs, because Honda is kind of just like a scrub killer right now. Like, right? He's just kind of degenerate. But then a lot of the other casts gets like the opposite direction. So that was like, I feel like it's weird. Maybe Honda, maybe there's like a certain like ease of use or scrub level quota they're hitting, and Honda, because Honda's consistently one of the best performing characters online. If you look at the rank stats, I think up until like 1800 MR, he has like the best win rate very often. If you look at the online CPT online CFN stats, so maybe they're trying to reduce that scrub friendly firepower on Honda and raise it on other characters a little bit.
I think it's just depending on who you're talking to, but even then, it's so weird because I remember I made like a whole Menard thing, and I was talking about it on my channel. I was like, oh, like, are you happy about the Menard buffs? And all I'm thinking is just like they just kind of made her more scrubby, and people are like, isn't that a good thing? I'm like, yeah, in the sense that she's better, but it's just like more mash and do the thing now.
Well, scrub your way to a victory, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's the game, dude.
Yeah,
scrub it up. Let's go.
But I think there's like levels of scrubbiness. Like Marvel 3 is very, I don't think Marvel 3 is scrubby, but there's a lot of unbalanced stuff. But I don't know. It's just like something about losing to something that's deemed as scrubby that rubs you the wrong way. You don't want to lose in a silly way, I feel like.
Sure. Yeah, and I agree with some of those. Like, I feel like the Marissa change is like a silly change. It won't matter much to make her a top tier or anything, but it feels like a change to make her sillier to fight. Whereas Honda, I feel like, okay, they made him less silly to fight, which I like those kind of changes. It's making him a bit more stable. But the game is the game. How about this? Let's talk about some big winners. We talked mostly about the nerfs, but the silly buffs. But I think the big winner from this patch is going to be, I have two picks, Alex and Jamie. I think those are the two of the biggest winners from this patch. Alex, they buffed a decent amount. They gave him +1 more frame on the back medium kick. It went from +1 to +2, which is obviously like huge for getting actual tick throws. And they buffed the range on his heavy command grab. They sped up his back dash. They gave him 1 more plus frames on stand medium punch for better counter hits confirms. He can combo into Prowler stance off of sweep, which was his like most damaging optimal combo route finisher, but gave him no Oki. Now he gets Prowler Oki off of it. Lariat has armor all the way into the last frame. So there were some times where reversals would like beat it right before it became active and the armor ran out, or normals as well. Or doing things like normal buffered into ODDP would break it, and that doesn't work anymore. I feel like they made him some of those were kind of silly. Like the Prowler Lariat armor buff, a little silly, and DDT goes through projectiles now.
I thought so. My two winners were Alex and Chun-Li. I still think Chun-Li made it out the best because Chun-Li already wasn't like a bad character in my opinion, and like I said, the overhead being plus is actually like mad good. She got new combos because of the Hazanshu changes, so she's been like under the radar. I feel like Mai was always just kind of like better Chun-Li, but now I feel like Chun-Li's gonna be creeping up slowly.
Yeah, that overhead went from -3 to +1. That is nuts. That's a. She didn't get as many patch notes, but that one change alone is a lot. Like that's a lot. Getting an overhead to be plus is a significant change in your offensive utility.
One little change. She, like I said, she still has fireball drive rush. She still has low forward drive rush. She still has like a lot of the SF6 stuff that you would want. She doesn't have a throw loop, but she's still just like really good, and she's really good at like controlling the pace of a match, in my opinion. As long as you're not playing against like Dawson.
Yeah, absolutely. She's always been very solid. So, along with the modern buffs, I'm really curious. I don't know enough about modern and Chun-Li to know if that impacts her. I guess that's going to be her anti-air is what I would assume, so maybe not too much, but we'll see if there's something going on there. Jamie just mentioned his changes. They made that heavy kick hit full screen now, so stand heavy kick is gonna like just punish counter things from half screen away and get combos. His target combo out of, I believe you have to be in drink level 3, the 3-hit back elbow sway target combo. Now wall splats from like half screen away. So he gets like corner carry and new combo conversions from that. They buffed his OD palm as well to have less pushback on later active frames. So if it hits meaty to be plus in neutral, he's actually like in range to threaten. It's not like point blank for throw, but it's at a much more advantageous situation where he could walk up throw or check your pressure or check you trying to check him. So yeah, people are memeing like it gave Yun has trouble getting in energy because now it takes fuck it we palm to a new level now.
The difference is Yun didn't have drive rush. I feel like that change is kind of useless because you might as well drive rush heavy punch is kind of the same thing. It is cheaper. It's actually cheaper too.
You're not wrong.
You'll get a combo. You'll still get in. You'll be palm is +2, but like drive rush heavy is +1. But you get a combo if it hits. Drive rush is kind of better in some instances.
I think the difference is the palm will also reel back the hurt box and punish counter things. And so you can get a big combo on hit or be plus on block. So it's like it just I think they work together. Either you do the immediate drive rush heavy or the drive rush check timing would whiff on the palm will punish counter you. And worst comes to worst, it's just plus anyways. So I think they work together. Like you're not going to stop him from getting in if he wants to spend meter to get in. One way or the other.
Yeah, but you could do drive rush palm and then catch somebody trying to check your drive.
Okay. Next level with it. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see Jamie Zoot bust out the drive rush OD palm now. I'm sure it's going to be part of it. Okay, any other final thoughts on the patch? I do feel like overall there's a lot of changes, so if you haven't checked it out yourself, a lot of characters got interesting tools, either one way or the other. So there were some interesting omissions, like Ryu, his solar plexus is now +2 in strike throw range. That was his only change. Terry got buffed somehow overall, I feel like. But overall, there's a lot of changes across the cast. So I do recommend just going through it and reading it and seeing the changes because there's a lot to cover. But any final interesting takeaways from this before we move on to Yasmine?
I'll give the patch I give it a 7 out of 10 because it's more. I'm not surprised. Like my expectation was low, but it's way better than I thought it was going to be honest.
Yeah. I agree. For historical Street Fighter 6 patches, they've been pretty disappointing aside from like that 2024 patch after season 1. I think that had the most impactful changes. There's been a lot of tightening nuts and bolts here to do nothing for a while. So I feel like even though some of the changes I agree with you are a little bit like a questionable direction for my personal taste, some of them are great, I think. So I think overall decent, one of the better patches for Street Fighter 6. So happy to see they're actually trying to shake things up a little bit in that sense. Hey, thanks for checking out the brand new Trash Talk content, and maybe you're enjoying the new and refreshed look on the brand new Trash Talk YouTube channel. Well, whether or not you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify or another podcast platform, I wanted to thank today's sponsor, you. To commemorate kicking off the new season of Trash Talk, we've also launched a new merch line. This new merch line's on a brand new merch store over at Orchid 8. You can check out t-shirt and hoodie designs for the new Trash Talk logos and extra trashy logos. We also have brand new unique designs like Hajoken, custom move lists, one more coffee sip for real, and of course, Brian F's signature spaghetti. On top of that, of course, we've got all the designs on mugs as well. To check out what's available, just head over to brianf.shop to see all the brand new merch. Okay, that's all I got. Back to the episode. But we're done with that for now. It's time for Yasmine. Yasmine, the latest character to Street Fighter 6, has officially joined the roster, the first of the new cast of characters from this season. And I played her. Adamas played her. We got our first impressions going. I think she's pretty good.
Really?
I don't have much else to say. I think she's solid. She's solid.
I think she's like maybe on like the lower side. She kind of gives me like Ingrid vibes with her normals. Her normals aren't really that good in my opinion, but she has a fast drive rush. Obviously, she is strong quarter carry. Her damage is very low in my opinion as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think she's good, but she gives me like she's probably where Ingrid is. And also, she gives me Nakali vibes because she's like super stubby and very, very Anga. I don't know. She reminds me too much of Nakali.
Yeah, you mentioned that before we started recording, and I laughed, but I get what you're saying because her DP is very fast and vertical, and it has a similar strength deviation where the light one is like super fast and vertical, but has no horizontal range at all. But the heavy one it goes further. So and the lights are pretty stubby, and the mediums are solid but not great. So I really get what you're saying, but I don't know, man. I think the fact that she has I think her anti-air is great. I love her uppercut. It feels so good to cross-cut with and covers great angles, and it's super fast. And the heavy one has surprisingly good horizontal range as well, and is still very fast, like 8 frames or 7 frames on the heavy, and 5 or 6 frames on the light. It's really fast uppercut. So that felt great to play with. And I have to say she's better than Ingrid. I think Ingrid is the weakest DLC in a long time. I would say she's better than Ingrid just because she does have the condition of getting Bioni mode, getting a hit to power up her karambit to make the next hit better. That is a condition, but she cycles between that naturally during her combo routing. And I feel like because it happens so seamlessly and she still maintains advantageous Oki, I think she's way better than Ingrid. I think Ingrid takes too much work to get into her win condition to kill someone in one hit, where she can just continuously rush down.
But that's the thing. I feel like Ingrid could kill you in one hit. I feel like I would prioritize that than with Yasmine. I feel you got to hit the person like 7 times before they're actually like close to dying. It's not like most of the SF6 Ryu sneezes on you, you're taking like 40%. It's not the same with Yasmine.
Definitely not. Yeah, her damage is definitely very low. It's low before you have the karambit power up, the Bioni mode, and it's still kind of low even when you have it. I think it'll get better once people optimize like level 2. I think her level 2 is pretty good. That's one thing that I haven't explored yet, and it's still very early. But her level 2 install gives her access to new moves and utility, and has actual cross-up shenanigans that you can employ with her command dash moves out of that. And then the other part of that is the Oki with the Beyblade projectile she uses, which is pretty fun. Like I like that she has that option mixed in with her demon flip, which can be made to be plus and stay in front of cross up. So she has low damage. The idea was like it seems like they're actually trying to balance a low damage character, like mobility with mix ups and pressure, but low damage, which is like, but that's what Kim used to be or was supposed to be, but Kim just kills you now in one hit.
That doesn't make any sense in this game because like there's no like I always say this. There's no mix in this game. There's no mix. I feel like the Shuriken. I don't know. You know the actual like terms now, but I just say
I call it the boomerang projectile. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. Karambit is the knife. I don't know what you call the projectile. I just call it the boomerang.
But yeah, when it comes back, there's like, bro, just parry. It's not like Ibuki Shuriken where it's like, oh, left, right, or where am I going? It's just like parry. I might take a lot of damage, but it's like, it could be much worse. I feel like getting hit by it would be much worse than me just sitting there and parrying. That's
you're gonna get thrown.
Yeah, but that's if I eat like a left, right, and then get comboed or die for it, I'd rather just hold the parry down. It's the same with JP's level 2. If you think about it, why would I try to block the level 2 when I could just get thrown and then be like, oh, I lost 20%. I could have been worse. I could have lost 40%.
In certain situations, you can combo off the throw.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the way she operates, that's a meterless resource. You can't take too many of those. I think it feels like so far, I agree with what you're saying. Of course, that's the game. The idea is there enough incentive to get into situations where they can bait and punish your parry throw enough to make it so that you think twice about it? So far, I feel like she has the potential to earn those types of moments, right? And she can do an immediate approach with grab before the boomerang hits. She can make the demon flip whiff and go empty on the left right and just fall in front of you and grab you. So I think she potentially has enough to make it so that you don't always want to hold parry, and or even if you do, she'll win off that, and she has good throw pressure after. So it's not like she's immediately hitting you with like chip cross up shenanigans and looping you like that. But I think they understood, right? They understood that parry's in the game, so they had to find ways for you to apply mix where holding parry has a downside.
I feel like
feels like that's there.
that's every character that's come out. I feel like they've been kind of walking that fine line. Even Ingrid, I feel like Ingrid was supposed to be like some incredible zoner, but then it's like, oh shit, Perry's in the game, and then they kind of just like stumble or like, oh, what do we do now? What do we do now? And I feel like Yasmin's kind of falling into the same category.
I think it's a bit better than the Ingrid case. I'm telling you, man, playing Yasmin compared to Ingrid, oh my god, it's so much easier. It's so much easier. Ingrid is so much harder to get going, and her normals are so much worse. Like, I know Yasmin's lights are a little bit challenging, but she has good target combos to like get the confirms going, and driver's heavy is incredible. I think her mediums are decent, not incredible, not crazy. So her normals are weaker than a lot of the rest of the cast, but nothing compares to Ingrid, man. Like, Ingrid normals are trash, and like it's just way harder to stop degenerate gameplay. Having that uppercut, it's so strong, such a strong cross up or cross cut angle. She's much better at maintaining the pace and stopping your escape options and shutting down you from getting a lucky jump and getting mauling her, right? And she has an invincible DP, right? Ingrid's counter is trash. Like, it leaves you in a horrible position after. The Oki is terrible. You're still in the corner when it works. So I think she's much stronger than Ingrid out of the gate. Much stronger. Maybe might be rendered a little bit more redundant in the end, but she feels way better than Ingrid. Much simpler too.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like we could have a bet on this. I feel like in the long run, I think Ingrid would be regarded higher than Yasmin. I think I could stand on that.
What I can see happening is Ingrid is more likely to have a character specialist dedicated to playing them to do some broken shit here and there and make something happen. But I still feel like Yasmin right now is better than Ingrid. But people might not play her because she might fall under the redundant category of why not play someone who's a bit stronger of the rushdown archetype. That's what I think is going to happen. That would be my prediction. I feel like Ingrid is pretty kind of bad.
I don't know. I had like, because I played Ingrid for a bit, and I feel like Ingrid has potential. I just like, if somebody got really good with Ingrid, I feel like she could be really good, but I don't have that same feeling with Yasmin. And I do feel like it's partially like, if somebody was able to get that good, they would, stop playing Yasmin after a while and be like, oh, am I not playing Terry or Mai or whoever it might be? And then that's kind of the problem.
Yeah, it's funny because Yasmin is like a Kimberly Shoto, right?
Yeah.
She has the Shoto 5 light kick. Her stand light kick is incredible. That 5-frame stand light kick, amazing range. But a lot of her kit is kind of like a fusion of like how you imagine Kimberly plays plus a Shoto, right? Like fast walk speed. She has
Nikali
without a command grab. A little. I see what you're saying for sure. A little bit. Her Beyblade approach on the ground is plus, and she has a way to feint that. She has like a lot of interesting little things, I feel like, to play. She's snappy. She's fast. I think she's fun to play. I'm going to keep playing her and seeing what I can figure out about her. But I do have a concern that she might not find a strong footing in the meta right now, because she feels like she feels familiar in a lot of ways, which means if she's not strong enough to offset the unique factors, or not unique enough to offset the fact that other characters might be stronger than her with those same familiar aspects, she might fall into that, I'm redundant tier, is what I'm a little bit concerned with. But she's very fun. I like how snappy she is. I like the speed at which she plays. Pressing the tar combos with her is fun. Getting the Deloy Nung Too Big confirms into the Alon extensions to get the Bioni mode to power up her Karambit. You following, Idom? All right, you got to do that.
I mean, then you lost me. I'm already done.
Those are all the official names, okay? I've been studying my Tagalog here, so it's fun. I enjoy playing it. And, dude, hitting her uppercut, I cannot stop raving about that. Felt so good after playing Ingrid. That trash-ass uppercut. Oh, my God. Basically, I was happy to not play Ingrid, is what I'm starting to realize.
That's what it sounds like. You just hate
Ingrid. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know. I think I'm waiting for Arjun. I'm already ready for Arjun, to be honest. I'm waiting for the next DLC.
Damn, Yasmin's not hitting. Arjun is the guy I'm looking forward to the most. To be fair, I agree with you there. He has the biggest potential, I think, to do something wacky and unique. Like, what the hell are they cooking with him? But you're not feeling Yasmin?
I'm not really
at all.
Yasmin.
Wow.
She is actually starting to feel like, I'm trying to think of a SF5 or 4 character where I was just not interested, but she is kind of like
Lucia.
Yeah, I'm going to see it for a bit. I would say more like or an Oro, actually. Oro had a charge move, and I was out of there. No, as
That's
soon
a
as I
you
switched
problem,
target,
man. That's a you problem. Oro, don't even start. Don't even start. That's a you
Oro.
problem, dude. If you can't recognize the greatness that was Oro right in front of you, I don't know if I can trust
Uh,
your opinion on nothing, Item. Hold on. Slow
yeah,
down there. Slow your roll.
but hopefully Arjun comes out as more interesting because like I when I saw the characters, I was like, oh, aesthetically, Yasmin looks cool. But now that I got my hands on Yasmin, I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of done.
Why is she a Super Saiyan? Like
I
people
I don't
even showing
know.
her arcade mode like game over or like a restart screen, and when you restart, she also powers up. She's literally just going Super Saiyan mode. She's throwing
she
Kamehamehas.
she scrolls. She's like a YouTube TikTok doom scroller, so that she probably just sees all the stuff online. That was in her story. All she does is like after I think her brother left her like school or something, but yeah, she just sat in bed and doom scrolls all day.
That's how you become Super Saiyan. You get rage baited that
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
see,
You see all
Goku.
the
Goku had
videos.
to see his son and his best friend be murdered by Frieza to go Super Saiyan. All you have to do now is doom scroll for too long, and then
Her
that's
brother,
it.
I think her brother in the story just like he said she went away. It's kind of the same thing. She doesn't know if her brother was coming. I don't know the story, but it was something along the lines. Maybe it's kind of the same thing as Goku watching Gohan. I mean, watching Krillin explode or something. Same thing.
Maybe. Okay, well, I think that's all we have to say about Yasmin. I think she's more fun to play than Item's letting on, but I think she's snappy with the speed. She's rushed down. She's going to be familiar in that sense. If you played a Shoto character and played a bit more rush down character, I like how the pace she plays at for sure. She has a fusion of a lot of different characters' parts. She has a bit of the Jamie drive rush heavy punch, Shoto stand light kick, Shoto DP, and the speed of like a Kimberly. So yeah, I do agree. It might be. I'm not sure how much of a unique footing she'll find. We'll see as she develops more. I think the level 2 is going to be key for that. That's going to be her most unique aspect. That'll take time to develop. And the demon flip shenanigans that follow with the boomerang setups. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more hopeful than you are about the character.
To be fair, I do feel like this is kind of how it was before with Ingrid. Like I was more interested in Ingrid than you were. So I think it's kind of the same pace. Same pace.
I was more interested in Ingrid. What do you mean?
I was pretty interested in Ingrid. I played Ingrid for a bit.
I played Ingrid.
Well,
I was playing more than you with Ingrid. What are you talking about?
well, that's not fair. You like I actually have to go back to my main characters. You kept playing Ingrid.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have brought Ingrid to that World Warrior tournament.
But I didn't think Ingrid. I thought Menard was still better than Ingrid. But I think
Ingrid is kind of whack. Like it's not my fault that the character's kind of whack.
No, but I think Ingrid has potential. Like Ingrid's potential, man. I think that's where we're kind of misinterpreting each other. Ingrid has potential.
I think if one masochist can put up with Ingrid to push her to her limits, yes, there might be one person who has a Hibiki run with Ingrid. I see that happening because when she's fully stocked, shenanigans definitely occur. But Yasmin will be a lot easier to pick up and play for a lot more people. I think we'll see a lot more Yasmin, at least in the short term. We'll see if anyone sticks with her, though. But that's about it. That's all we got for now. Let us know what you think in the comments. I'm interested in what people think about Yasmin so far, early impressions of the character, if you're having fun with her or not, and the balance patch, and all the shakeups in the Street Fighter esports scene. That said, Idon, you got any final thoughts, anything to sign off with before we end this episode?
Enjoy the patch. If you guys are one of the people who are dissatisfied with the patch and not having a good time, play Avatar. Tokon's coming out on Friday, I think. So have fun with the other games and enjoy yourself. Play good fighting games. Play good video games as well, though.
Yeah. Thursday, actually, even sooner, man. There's a lot
Thursday.
going on.
Yeah.
This is just a little checkpoint, rest stop in between all the other fighting game action. So you're ripe for choice if Street Fighter 6 hasn't been going the direction you want. Try something else, man. You might be surprised and have a lot of fun with the other games out there. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and pack it up here at Extra Trashy. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Later.
Man, Adam and I yap way too much about these tournaments, so that episode went on for way too long. So if you made it to the end of it, thank you so much for tuning in. It must mean you really enjoyed it, and we really appreciate your time. If you're watching on your video feed on YouTube or Spotify, you'll be seeing the names of our Patreon supporters from over at patreon.com/Brian_F scrolling by right now. Over on that Patreon page, we do things like having early access to our mainline Trash Talk episodes, giving you guys the opportunity to ask questions to upcoming guests, and try to give you some behind-the-scenes look at upcoming content and anything that doesn't make it into any of the main YouTube channels. So thank you so much to the supporters. This show would not be possible without your help. Thank you so very much. At this point in time, I'd like to personally thank our landfill members, Bryce Scatterfield, Kamar, Such Spalis, Chris FK, Chuckle Chuck, Dimsium, Doc Fugu, Flawless Victory, SBO, Frazi, Geen Drive, Jeffrey, Massive Artist Fan, Scott Richards, 6mil, Smoking Seabass, and Wizzy West Side. Thanks for your continued support, and thanks for tuning in to Extra Trashy. Peace out.